I once sneezed so hard in my car, I set off the airbag.
Please, Steve.
Wow. That is a big sneeze. Where were you?
I was in my car.
Whereabouts was the car in the country?
I was on a motorway.
Oh, you were travelling. At what
Yes.
speed?
Yes. About 65, 70.
Are you saying that you sneezed and the airbag went off, or are you saying you sneezed, crashed the car, and the airbag went off?
I sneezed, airbag went off, and because I was on the inside lane, I just pulled over.
The sheer force of the air from your nostrils and mouth. This can't have happened since your birth on the planet Krypton.
Did you contact the manufacturers? Can you tell us which kind of car it is?
It was an Audi A7.
Was it?
Yes.
Are you sure it wasn't an Audi do that because it doesn't sound feasible?
Take us back to the beginning, Dion.
Yes.
Where were you travelling to?
I was on the M6 going from Warwickshire to Manchester.
What did you have to do?
For work, yes.
And what is it that you do?
I talk a little bit on the TV.
So you're some punditry.
I was going to do final score of Match of the Day or Football Focus.
So, Dean, you didn't cover your face when you sneezed.
Because
So that's a naughty boy, isn't it?
Not as naughty as driving without using your hands.
Yes.
Phew! See, I'm very polite.
And would you say that, as a rule, you are a loud, violent sneezer? Because some are. Some give a little...
Yes.
And some go... Gah!
There's one thing worse than both of those, and that is the people that threaten to do a big one, and it's a little one. You know, the ones that go... They do my head in. What's the build-up for, then?
Where do you fall? Which of those camps are you in?
I'm quite a loud, violent sneezer.
You are.
Which I didn't think I was until I nearly killed myself.
Did you make it to work?
In another car, yes.
Who picked you up?
The dealership. I just rang the dealership straight away.
You rang the
Dealership. You don't ring the dealership when you've had an accident.
Because I was on the M6, I was close to where the dealership was, and I thought that would be easier for them to come out and deal with my... I'd get a new car as well. They gave me a new car.
So the dealership...
This is the focus of disbelief. Dealership.
The dealership I got the car from was in Warwickshire.
Right.
So I called them. I know the guy that owns the
just set off.
dealership. I know the guy that owns the dealership.
What's his name?
Send someone out. Lee.
Lee... Oh! Is that right? Is his surname Mack? What's his surname?
Do you know him?
What's Lee's surname?
Beacon.
Oh, is that why you could see him from so far away? Did Lee personally come and pick you up?
No, he sent one of his staff.
What was his name? Was it Debbie?
Bob.
Bob. What was Bob's surname? Light bulb.
Is this true? What are you thinking, Bob?
Well, I'm thinking that big lad like Dion, maybe it could do it. I always go, achoo, pussycat, whoa, whoa. I've always found it amusing. Achoo, pussycat. Bang! I say true.
Debbie?
I just think if it was true, it would have happened to a lot more people, and we can't do that sort of research.
That's the trouble. The scope for research before answering the question is very limited. I always think if we could go away for a couple of weeks, really work on the questions, then we get a lot more right. But...
So, what's it going to be?
I'm going to go with Debbie and say it's not true.
OK. Dion, truth or lie?
It's a lie.
Every night, to cram in as much learning as possible, I read a book while simultaneously listening to a completely different audiobook.
David's team.
OK, what was the last book and audiobook simultaneously you read and listened to?
It was Trevor Montague's this is the book, Trevor Montague's A to Z of Everything, which is the absolute Bible of general knowledge. And it was the Guinness Book of Records audiobook, but not for this year, but they do for every year since 1956 when it was founded. and I have an obsession with 1984.
Why?
Why do you do two together? Why? And can you actually feed and retain the information?
Well, can you is the question I can't really answer, because general knowledge is basically about learning as many facts as possible and then hoping they come up. But I only really do this in the 2 to 3 weeks before any major general knowledge quiz.
Because you're a big quizzer.
I'm the 5th ranked quiz in the United Kingdom, which is...
All right, don't boast.
But then, of course, the other 4, they listen to one, read one, and they've got one on Braille as well.
Oh, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Can you give me 3 Guinness World Records from 1984, please?
I'll give you one that still stands. Robert Pershing-Wadlow is the tallest man of all time, 8 feet 11 3/4.
I knew
one
that.
that doesn't stand, that was stood in 84, is the previous year Calvin Smith broke the world record for the 100 metres, just before the World Athletics Championships, with 9.9.
I didn't understand a word you just said.
Just trying to answer your question. And the third one is in 1984, Ronald Reagan beat Walter Mondale in the largest percentage of the vote, something like 73.6% of the vote.
Is that true?
When he beat Walter Mondale in the US presidential election.
Why are you asking us?
I don't know. I'm very flattered that you think I know about American elections in that much statistical detail.
Who was #1 in the charts November 1984?
Flex.
Well, that was actually May.
You're making it up.
So it was Chaka Khan, I Feel For You, with a harmonica by Stevie Wonder, a rap by Melly Mel, written by Prince. Chaka Khan, I Feel For You, was #1 in November 1984.
That's true. This is not a general knowledge quiz.
With no evidence if that's true at all.
Which Rod Stewart song was a #1 in 1984?
Do you mean Baby Jane, 1983?
Yes, I do.
I'll tell you what, I really feel even more stupid that I couldn't add 2 and 1.
Where do you do this, Paul?
Well, I only live in a 2-bed flat. There's not many choices.
So you do it at home, you don't
I do it absolutely at home.
All right.
Can I just say, he said there was 2-bedroom, not many choices. I think you'll find there's not many options, there's only one choice.
I feel like when someone in the pub is trying to fight someone who's a bit bigger than they are. They're going to hold you back from this.
What was the other book again?
Trevor Montague's A to Z of Everything, if one's allowed to advertise on a BBC TV show.
Well, I think we should say other impenetrably boring books I remember.
Right. David, what's it going to be?
Mary?
Well, I believe him. I do. I just think it sounds very boring. And I don't think you are. So, therefore, I think it's the truth.
I think he's lying. I think he's coming at me with facts to confuse me. This is what they do.
Yeah. I'm going to go lie.
You're going to say it's a lie?
Yeah.
Paul, were you lying or were you telling the truth?
It was a lie.
Ooh, possession.
Now, take a look. There's a box under your desk. Place the item from the box on top of the desk first, and then read out the card. Thank you.
This is my lucky dice. I can always roll a 6 with it in 3 goes.
David.
Yeah!
Well, yeah, go on then.
Do you want to know how I came to discover this?
Yes, please.
Just found it in a box.
How long have you had it?
I've had it for about 20 years. Oh, the dice. I thought you meant my syphilis.
Where did you get it?
I got it from a woman in Highgate.
I meant the syphilis.
Sorry. I paid for it, $4.99.
We meant the dice.
Full of spots.
When did you first discover that you had that these dice or die were indeed lucky?
I was walking the back streets of Hong Kong.
Yes.
I'm down this dark alley.
Right.
There's a weird shop staying open late. I go in, a small bell rings, and a small Chinese man was there. Hang on, this is Gremlins, forget this. I got it from Amelie's.
Give us some examples of when you've used this lucky dice.
Well, I've used it. It helped me get together with my first girlfriend.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah, that was her name. It wasn't a real name. It was Janet.
Janet. It helped you get together with Janet.
It helped me get together with Janet, my first girlfriend, because she was a big fan of magic.
Right.
And I said, oh, I can do a magic trick. And she said, what's that? I said, see this dice? I can guarantee, at any point I can roll it 3 times, and I will always get a 6.
And how many times did you do it before Janet said, I love you?
She never expressed her love for me. But after I rolled it once, we slept together.
Well, maybe we should put this lucky dice to the test. Now, to get a proper view, why don't you could come out and use this bit of stage here. You'd be like one of those New York crap shooters from Guys and Dolls.
I mean, when would you like me to get it? Straight away, or would that just ruin it? I think a bit of tension for the last roll.
Bit of tension, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
make it
never
number
gone
3.
wrong in 20 years. I swallowed it. There's the first one. What is it, madam? 5. Oh, sorry, sir. Sorry. Awkward. It's Janet!
So, there's no worries. You've got 2 left.
OK. Here we go. I mean, be honest. It's pretty gripping, isn't it? It's actually pretty gripping stuff, isn't it? Here we go.
Well, people watched Deal or No Deal, didn't they?
Attempt number 2. Here we go. It's a 3. So you're sticking to your promise of waiting for the 3rd roll. Where are you going?
Have a little sit down. So, what do we think? Is it true or is it...
You have to follow through on your promises. Right, here we go.
Come on.
Here we go.
Let me say that I personally am convinced that Lee is telling a lie, but that nevertheless he will now roll a 6.
Here he goes. Lee Mack, 3rd roll. Got to be a 6. It's rolling.
What do you think?
So what numbers did I get? Can anyone remember?
5, 3 and 2.
So they don't add up to 6 either, do they?
What do you think?
Can I just check? Is this definitely the dice I brought in?
I've got an idea. We can make this work by we retake Lee reading the card, and he says, this is my dice, it occasionally rolls a 6.
So, what are you going to say then, Johnny?
Lie.
Lie. Lee, truth or lie?
It was a lie.
I was once so cold, I shivered my skirt off.
David's team.
Where were you?
So I was round my cousin's house, and we were all outside, and you know we were all showing off. Everyone was having a beer.
When was it, Stace?
I was probably about 15, 16. And anyway, so everyone was out on good form, and then it just turned quite cold, you know, that transition from day to night, it gets a bit chilly. But I still had the summer get-up on, and so...
What kind of skirt was it?
It was like a mini skirt.
And did you get thinner during the night?
I think actually a couple of lads had come to meet us on their bikes, and so we're talking...
What sort of bikes were they?
It's great when someone's so London that they've got 2 syllables for bikes.
I'm actually Luton. I mean, We've got a German guy, a northern guy, and 2 Welsh individuals here, and we've only picked up on my accent.
Didn't understand the word you said.
Yes, we were all just talking, and then I was talking to this lad, and I really quite fancied him, actually. And then I was sort of shivering, and I shivered my miniskirt right off, and I didn't even realise. And, like, everyone was laughing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've...
Are you about to say I've chatted to young fellas and dropped my skirt as well? Where's this going, Alex? Because you bailed out of that as soon as you started. Oh, no, I'll tell you. No, I won't, actually. No, I won't.
I mean, I know where this are wrong. I've danced in just tights without realising it was on the floor. So
this can happen.
I've known it happen with a bath towel, sort of...
What was going on under the skirt and what were you left with?
Well, I had a big pair of knickers on.
Oh, great.
Like PE briefs.
When you say PE briefs,
yeah,
you mean ones that you would wear for PE, not ones that you've had an accident in.
I did also wet myself in high school, but that's a totally separate story. And we...
Tell you what, if we ask you back, and it is an if, save that story for them.
Okay.
So you didn't notice.
No.
So
well,
what alerted you to it?
Everyone was laughing. I was like the joke of the night.
Yes.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, I know. It's a bit like the Onion story.
What, in that it's not true?
What do you think, David? I mean, she's painted a vivid picture.
I think, the combination of... What were you drinking? Cider?
Something like that.
Yeah, cold, fit boy. I think the skirt would be the last thing you'd worry about, and so what if it's round your ankles? No?
Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. So you think it's true?
Well, I'm going true. I think it's a lie.
You think it's a lie? Well, it's plausible. So I'll say true.
Say true.
Okay.
Right, Stacey. Truth or lie?
It is, in fact... true!
Until my mid-30s, I had no idea that lambs were, in fact, baby sheep.
David's team.
Until your mid-30s? How old are you now?
I'm in my late 30s.
When you're on television, you refer to it as the mid to high 30s. Why don't you do that with your age?
How did you learn?
I was in Cumbria, and we were filming for a weather show, and I had to do a piece about clouds, about red sky at night, shepherd's delight.
I've never understood the phrase. Why is it so specific to shepherds? Nobody. Everyone likes the sun, no one likes the rain.
Because the shepherds in particular, though, they spare a thought for the shepherds watching now. They're out in all weathers.
What about the hang gliders? Red sky at night, hang gliders delight. Red sky in the morning, hang gliders warning.
Hello, can you help me? Excuse me.
Big nasty.
I'm black. I don't understand none of that stuff what you're talking about.
You've never heard red sky at night, shepherd's delight?
No.
Red sky in morning, shepherd's warning.
This is what's called middle-class rapping.
So you're in Cumbria. What are you doing there?
So we've been filming the whole day, and I've been walking amongst these animals. I mean, they were...
Hey, they're called northerners.
To be honest, because I was so focused on my lines...
Yeah.
I wasn't really paying that much attention to what... I just saw there were lots of fluffy animals everywhere.
Yeah. And you thought, the clouds have fallen!
So we're sitting there, and the farmer and his wife are saying that they do a programme called Lambing Live. I said, why is it that it's called lambing? And there's this sort of silence there for a bit. And so the camera crew were looking at me thinking, what are you talking about? I said, well, because... Why is it not sheeping? So sheep, and lamb. A sheep gives birth to a baby sheep, and a lamb gives birth to a...
So you thought a lamb was one woolly thing, and a sheep was another woolly thing?
As it were, like an orange and a satsuma.
for a hot sec, I was on the same kind of ideology as you know.
Did you express this confusion?
I did, and I wish I hadn't, actually, because of the looks I got.
Did you then say, what's that big yellow bright thing in the sky?
What is... because you're a scientist, aren't you? That's... meteorologist is a type of scientist.
Yeah.
What did you... What A-levels did you do?
That's David's very polite way of saying you are thick.
The thing is that when you see a little lamb there and another sheep, the thing looks so different.
You think they look nothing like each other? You wait till I explain the life cycle of the frog. It will blow your mind. Have you ever seen an adult caterpillar?
Oh, yeah, that's a... I know that one. I forgot.
You all right?
What are you thinking, Prue?
Well, I think it's got to be a lie because I can't believe that a weatherman who is conscious of the seasons and knows what happens in the spring, I think you're making it up.
Do you think it's true?
Yeah, well, so it seems like I'm an idiot.
What's that supposed to mean?
What, we're going down together, Naka, man. At least let me know.
So, what's it going to be, David?
Well, I think he's a scientist. I think he'd know. I'm going to go with Prue. We're going to say it's a lie.
Thomas, truth or lie?
It is, in fact, true.
I once refused to help a hang glider who had become tangled in a tree because 2 hours earlier he had been rude to me in a car park.
David C.
I love it. How high up in the tree was he?
He was about 2/3 of the way up of the tree. You probably want to know the height of the tree, don't you?
Yes, please.
The height of the tree was about how high he was plus a third.
So he wasn't 2/3 of the way up the tree, he was 3/4.
He was...
If he was 2/3 of the way up the tree, then the height of the tree was how high he was plus a half.
That is a fair point, isn't it?
He's made you look an idiot.
Yeah.
Where was the car park?
The car park was just near a cliff.
Right, yeah. What was the altercation that you had with him?
He took the last space that I considered my space. Because I got to the space in the car park, and I did that thing where I was waiting with my hazard lights on.
Yeah.
He came around the corner, and just as the person pulled up, he pulled straight into the space. I got out the car, I would say menacingly. I approached his car. He got out the car, bigger. And I said, forget it then, you know. That's your attitude.
So did he get his equipment out then?
No. He'd already belittled me enough.
Where was this tree? What were you doing when you came across this tree with him in it?
I was just going for a stroll with my wife.
And you heard a noise. Did you hear him or see him first?
I heard him first.
You heard him. What was the sound that you heard? You're talking to your
can you imagine
wife.
a kite hitting a tree, times that by 50, and then add a human? That is what it sounded like. Obviously, I took the smart-ass approach and I went, oi, think you'll find I was going to park there?
What did he say?
He went, help! Can you... Oh, help! And I couldn't see him at first because it was just a sort of mess of tree and hang glider and...
what sort of tree was it, Lee?
It was a big one.
No, trees have names, don't they?
Brian,
was it an
the big
oak
tree.
or a birch or a species of tree?
I'm going to go for oak.
But was it an oak?
No. Look, I'm walking along with my wife. Ah, crash, pow! wow! Is that an oak? That's not how conversations go, is it? You're going, there's a man in a tree fighting for his life.
The man in a tree shouting, help, help,
Help,
me,
help!
help.
I'm stuck in an oak, I think.
And what did you say to him as he
That's
shouted
not
help?
an oak! You're confusing me now. When I have to relay this on Would I Lie to You, I'll get all confused. And it's your fault. I don't know. I think it might be a sycamore. Can you just help me?
Sycamore?
Yeah, when he fell out, he went like that all the way down.
And what did your wife have to say about this?
My wife said, we must help him. And I said, I refuse. I absolutely refuse.
And she just went along with
Nope. She climbed that tree.
Yeah.
She climbed that tree.
With her bare hands?
No, she got human hands. She climbed that tree, and luckily she had some nail scissors, and she slowly started cutting at the many bits of tangled up bits around him until eventually she managed to help him get down.
Did she carry... The hang glider had strings
This, of course,
like a parachute.
Sounds like
a parachute, doesn't it? Yes.
I should point out, I'd walked away, and this is just the story that my wife recounted.
And then when did you next see your wife?
I still haven't seen her since.
So what did she...
He was a very good-looking Spanish guy, apparently.
All right. Super. Well, this is definitely true.
Right.
Do you believe this?
No.
A lie? Yeah. No, I think we think it's a lie because of... We think it's a lie because of what he said.
Lee, was it the truth or was it a lie?
Of course it was a lie.